Well, welcome to day 2 of Pitchside at Laureus. As we've done throughout yesterday, we're here at the back of the media centre, and I'm delighted to say that we've got Natalie du Toit with us as our first interview of the morning. She's one of the nominees for Sporting Moments of the last 20 years. Her story is incredible, so we're going to relive that a little bit, that period in your life that literally your whole life changed. But just, I know you've just arrived, but just to be here, the buzz around Laureus, seeing the other different sports people, the world's media here. How are you doing? Nice to see you.
Oh, thank you. It was not such a bad flight up, so thank you very much for having me. And I think, from that side of things, it's been a long journey, and to be here for Laureus, to be here for a Laureus Award that was nominated amongst so many over the last 2 decades is really humbling, and it's something that one would never ever have thought about. So yes, I think a surprise, and my journey with Laureus started many years ago, and to see it grow and to see what it is today, to see the press centre, to see it is phenomenal, and I think for me it's to see that what you do for athletes, it's also what you're doing and leading by that example.
So I'm going to take a little bit of artistic license here and go back to that period where your life changed, and a little bit of a disclaimer in that I was around a little bit during that time. And if it's okay, I want to particularly talk a little bit about that morning, because I still have memories of that morning. We had been at a trading session at the Newlands pool. You were in matric, so you got out a few minutes before the rest of us to go after school, and you had your terrible accidents. And I remember we were with some of the other group. We were at the gym, and somebody called us to say we came through to the hospital, and I'll never ever forget this. We saw you. It was at Constantiaberg. We saw you in the emergency ward, and one or two of our mutual friends at the time were crying, and I think you held the hand and said, "Don't worry, everything's going to be just fine." Now, it's always stuck with me. How do you square that day in your life now? And it's a big question, but I'm just wondering how you reflect on that, because everything from that point on, I suppose your whole life changed.
Yeah, I think my life changed, but I hadn't changed in that, I'm just as I was beforehand. I was the irritating sister, I guess, and the one that I believed that I needed to train so hard to try and achieve something. That morning particularly, got onto my little scooter and I was on my way to school, and I think the accident happened, and I saw what my leg looked like. I had, first person on my accident scene was a lady who used to wax my legs, so it was kind of people that I knew. And the girl that knocked into me was running around me saying, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." At that stage, Crowley, who we were being coached by, arrived, and he sort of held my hand and he said, "Nata," and I said to him, "Crowley, if my mom comes, just show that my face is okay, that that everything will be fine." And I think from that moment, there was no question of, am I going to swim? Am I not going to swim? It kind of just rolled over and just was like, it was the norm to be in a pool for 3 hours a day. That was the norm, I need to get back to that. And, I was still fine. As I said, I was, I could still speak, and I could still be the chatty youngster that I was. So I think from that side, I wasn't any different. And even when people came to see me, there was no question if I was going to get back in the pool, because that's what we did. I think we had a powerhouse of a team and a powerhouse of a squad that, if one of us missed, we felt like we had let everybody down, and
some of us missed more than others. Some of us felt more guilty. Yeah,
but absolutely, you felt guilty. So I think from that side, it explains the fact that it was the norm just to get back into it and just to do it. It was tough, and I think it was tough on everybody. It was tough. I know when the squad came to see me and said, I can't believe that it happened. And I don't think I ever saw it that way. I just kind of saw it like, okay, well, this is what it's like now. Now we've got to move on. Obviously, a lot of hardships along the way. But, I think also the squad and the coach and everybody made it made it as easy as possible. And, you know, it was just me. It was just like our buddy that,
Yeah.
you know, that we train with. So I think that helps a lot. And yes, life changed, but ultimately I didn't think that I was any different. So trained harder. And I used to come in like an hour before everybody and do exercises, but I think it was also possible. And I think the more things are possible, the more you work hard, the more you want to achieve, and the more you achieve, the harder you work. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle. And yeah, you know, I know in training, I think that's ultimately what we did in training. It was those principles that also took me through life, and the same principles within training. And you know, I think we've all experienced it. We've all experienced the hardships, but we came through on the other side, and those were the lessons that we learned within the sport.
Well, it wasn't long after you got back in the pool that you were irritating some of us by tapping on our feet in training, which, by the way, in swimming lingo is the person in front of you is going too slowly. I need to get past you. I mean, that to kind of get up to speed, for lack of a better phrase, so quickly. Did you surprise yourself?
I don't think there was ever a competition of getting back up to speed. You know, as I said, I took it as my squad.
Yeah.
My squad were also there for me. You know, they supported me. If I sat behind them, I sat behind them, and you know, tapped their feet. Okay, I was ready to go in front of them. You know, and I think there was no question in my mind anyway. I think that was my family, and that was, you know, part of getting back to it. And it was, let's work harder. I know my coach, or Coach Crowley, also, you know, there was no question for him. And, you know, he pushed to a degree that I think wasn't an over push, but, you know, sometimes maybe yes. But at the same time, it was more on me as an individual rather than on my swimming.
Yes.
Which is a very different, I think, a different scenario. And I think, you know, I'm sure a lot of us experience that within, you know, if you're in matric, you're not going to any parties, you know, that type of thing. So from that side, it was just, let's swim, let's see, let's work hard. And again, the dream of trying to achieve everything by the age of 28 was what the dream was. So what we were going to do to be able to, when I walk away from swimming, to know that I couldn't have gone further, I couldn't have done less, and that when I walk away knowing I gave absolutely everything. And I think we all thought like that. We all understood, you know, that road and that path that we needed to take.
So, you speak about having that goal that you had set yourself in terms of the end of your swimming career. What you achieved in the water is absolutely, you know, phenomenal. What are you up to at the moment?
Sure. What am I not up to? Keeping myself busy.
Yeah.
I think.
You always have been.
Yeah, you know, it's never been about coaching. I don't think I'd be a good coach because, you know, our coach was quite tough on us, and I think nowadays, you know, if I had to be that tough, I'd probably get locked up. But in terms of, you know, sport, it is giving back to sport in a way that, hoping that you can influence in a way that other athletes don't have to go through a lot of the challenges that we went through. So serving on athletes commissions and really starting those up, and it's really the beginning. So it's trying to get to athletes and say to them, you have a voice. You know, back in our days, we were told you must be here, you must do this, etc. But now athletes actually have a voice as to what they feel is better. And yes, it's advisory and we can't change everything, but it is possible. And so that was, again, lessons that one learns through swimming, and one learns from your coach, one learns from your team. And those are lessons you want to plow back in. And also, you know, throughout my career, I went through a lot of challenges, a lot of financial challenges. And, you know, you don't realize what everybody around you does to be able to get you where you need to go. And, you know, it's, you know what, we need some money that we have to go and, you know, some Mare Nostrum or one of the competitions to be able to get the experience to qualify. How are we going to do that? Where are we going to do that? It didn't just fall in our laps, you know, so that for me is important. Other than that, I work in communications and communications for businesses, so not in sport, and hopefully one day it will merge into sport, because I think we forget how similar business and sport really is, and the mental sort of ability that goes into it in terms of the actual business and how you do business. So for me, it's that I've seen that link, and that's the link that I would love to carry out through business and also pass on to other businesses and other sports people. And studying, finally studying. Training 8 hours a day. It was not really that easy towards the end of my career. So always being in a pool.
Yeah.
And so trying to do a BCom in business management. And
Fantastic.
so that's a degree, and hopefully we get past that too.
You mentioned challenges in your swimming career, kind of different scale, different types of challenges. Are there any kind of unfulfilled or regrets in terms of achievements you had, or goals you had set yourself that you weren't able to achieve? Anything you look back and you think, geez, just missed out on that? Or
Absolutely. So I always wanted to retire when I was 28, and not knowing where the games would be when I set that goal. Obviously being London 2012, and there were a lot of challenges, especially with politics, especially with funding, especially with a lot of things behind the scenes that I've never really mentioned too much of. But one of the things that I actually did do was I stopped swimming for a year leading up to London, and it was about a year, and I just been through so many politics and so many challenges that it really got to me. And no matter who said to me, Natalie, don't let it get to you, it got to me, because I thought, what did I do that was so wrong, that you can't do this and you can't do this and you can't go to the Olympics. And it really got to me. And the team around me, my manager said to me, Natalie, your dream was to go to 2012, 28 years old, you want to retire, you've got to do it, otherwise one day you're going to maybe want to come back, and then you're going to have to start the process all over again. And I went off to Italy and I trained, and the team was phenomenal with me. I was part of them. I swam open water with them. I swam in the disability sort of categories, and I had probably about 4 months training behind me when I went to London. And from that was really tough, because I knew physically I was never gonna be anywhere near what I was in Beijing or in Athens, but I knew that I had to do it, and all I had to do was swim my hardest to know that when I touched the wall and get out, I knew that I couldn't do anymore. So I ended with a silver medal in the 100-meter freestyle. It was the last race I swam. I didn't win nearly as many medals as I won in Beijing or in Athens, and it was kind of sad, but also I had learned a lot through that, and I had learned that people actually got to me, and I actually ruined my own career. And not ruined it, but I had let them get to me to a point that I actually didn't do what I should have been able to do. So yes, I think the regret there is more letting people get to you, and it's to understand it now and to not let it happen, which is difficult. But lots of hard lessons throughout my swimming career.
where do you draw your support from on a personal level?
So support is something that I think is also driven by goals and driven by dreams. It's that want to achieve. I also somehow people think I'm very competitive, and I'm very competitive within myself.
Yeah.
So I need to keep doing better. And if I bring 10 people with me, that's great. But I'm not one to want to beat you and, I'm better than you or anything along those lines. So, yes, it's interesting that, throughout my career, that's sort of the competitions within myself. And I think it's tough as well. A lot of people think that I'm this person that lives on a cloud, and I'm actually not. I'm just the little kid that, loved swimming, I guess, and loved everything about it and wanted to achieve everything about it. And from there, one grows up, and it's difficult, I think, to also sort of merge between the two as well and understand what people think of me and to who I really am.
Natalie, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the awards tonight. It's going to be a special, spectacular occasion, as it always is. We'll be on the red carpet as well, so we might just grab you just for a hello and to see how you're feeling ahead of it. But thank you, it's great to see you, and all the best. We look forward to staying in touch and keeping up to date with what your future plans. Good luck with the study. I do
Thank you
not
very
envy
much.
you in any
Oh,
stretch.
thank
But
you.
yeah, thank you
And
so much, Natalie.
thank you very much to Laureus
Yeah.
and for being here. And, you know, yes, the award and the 2 decades, you know, it's special to be a part of this and to be an ambassador and to be, you know, an award winner from 2010. So just to thank you to Laureus for all they do for the Sports for Good, for all the athletes as well and all past athletes.
Thank you. We'll see you later. Cheers. Thanks, guys.